I also own a women's sober living home in the Woodlands called Legacy House Sober Living. I had an opportunity to partner with Christine Brannon, who you'll hear from next. She's a therapist here in the Houston area, and we had some shared patients that she'd actually done therapy with, but then began some of them utilizing her treatment modality of Biosound. Christine's with Relaxing Rhythm Sound Spa, and I honestly fell in love with this technology because I got to experience it myself, which is kind of what inspired me to reach out to them so that they could share this information with you guys. It's really incredible stuff. And that leads me to Jamie.
Well, thanks for having me on. So I have a 501c3 nonprofit called Life Giving Life in Montgomery, just north of Houston, and I'm really excited to be on today because we are always looking for different modalities to offer our clients, especially with substance use disorder and healing of the brain. So I thank you guys for being having us on. So thanks.
Thanks, Jamie. Christine, tell us all about you.
Well, before I tell you about me, I want to thank both you and Eric for having me as a panelist. This is a really great opportunity. Kim is both a friend and a colleague. As she mentioned, we've worked together with some mutual clients, both with La Hacienda and her Sober Living, which has been fantastic to work with her. And she's also introduced me to this wonderful opportunity of the Spiritual Care Network and Eric as well. So this has been fantastic. I'm an LCDC and an LPC, and I've worked for the past 10 years. I've worked in the capacity of a treatment facility. So I've done residential treatment and IOP, but the majority of my time has been in private practice. Maybe a little less than a year ago, I was touring Serenity Light treatment facility down in Angleton, Texas, and I was exposed to Biosound therapy. Tried it one time and absolutely positively knew that I needed to add it to my practice and actually to my self-care routine. So June 8th, I took a leap of faith and opened up Relaxing Rhythm Sound Spa, and it has surpassed any of my expectations and just haven't looked back. So if after you guys hear everything about Biosound, you are interested in experiencing it for yourself, you can reach out to me, reach out to the website, and just be sure and put a little note if you book your initial appointment to let me know that you were on this website so we can get you hooked up to experience it for yourself. So we'll lead on to what, Rick and Chris?
Yes.
Okay, sounds great.
Good morning, everyone. First, I'd like to say thanks to Eric and Kim and Christine. I know Chris and Christine and Kim got the ball rolling on this, and we deeply appreciate the opportunity to share this technology with others, with the Spiritual Care Network. We love your mission. Your mission is amazing. It fits right in with our company. We're a Christian-based, family-owned company here in Clearwater, Florida. And so I'm the CEO and founder. But I'd like to start off with a prayer for the webinar. And I'm just going to ask the Lord to help us present this technology in a way that people will understand it clearly. We ask you, Lord, that you help us during this webinar. We ask for your blessings for everyone, the hosts, the panelists, the guests, all the guests online. And we just ask and pray that we can do our job of explaining and informing what Biosound is, how it works, how it can help patients and clients, and how it can help expand the healing that's so necessary, Lord, in this world. And we can help that aspect, even if it's in a small way, and we help one person at a time, Lord. We've been so blessed, and we just thank you for all your blessings. We lift this all up in prayer to you. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 So I'm Rick. I'm the CEO and founder of the company. I'm here with my son, Chris. I'm going to start out I think it's important that we start out with a little history of how Biosound came to be 10 years ago. And it's a personal story, but I think it's important. We'll keep it limited as much as possible, but the way things worked out, it is just miracle after miracle. So back in early 2010, I was at that place we call the jumping off point. My life, everything was wrong. You've heard the story many, many times, I'm certain. Economically, the crash of '08, relationships, all just crashing around me at one time. And of course, the big driver was alcoholism. And I got sober about 25 years prior. You've heard this story before also. 1, 2, 3 and out. Didn't follow the program, but I was a year and a half on that pink cloud that we all talk about. And, it was great. It was great. But life started happening and things started happening. And I wandered and, pretty much the same story. But amazingly enough, I got to a point to where it was there was only 2 options, and you all know what the worst option is. And I couldn't. I have kids, grandkids, looking at their pictures in my house, which I was about to lose. I thought, I have a big book from all those years ago that's moved with me. I have to go get that big book. And I went and I read, I forget what I read, but it's all fantastic. And anyway, I said, I got to get to a meeting. So I went to a meeting, my first meeting. After the meeting, eventually my sponsor, he came up and started talking to me how much he wanted to help me. And, we talked a little bit, and he says, "Is your son Chris Gallant?" And I said, "Yeah, how did you know that, Mark?" And he said, "Well, I'm working with him on a mortgage on refi." And I'm going, wow, isn't that amazing? First meeting. So him and I became friends, but he invited me right away to church. And he didn't have to drag me, but I told him, let's keep our eye on the roof, because it's been a long, long time for me. And, he chuckled, and we went in and sat down, and the message, you can't make this stuff up. The message was, or the sermon was, what do we do when we're in the storm? And I was in a storm. Health, just unbelievably in the storm in all areas. I had nowhere else to go. And, I heard the message. I looked at Mark and I said, I think I'm in the right place. He said, "You are in the right place." And, I got the call to the altar at the end. And I went in. Back then, they took you to the prayer room. And there was a couple. We prayed together. And I told them all of what was going on with me, including some very serious health, life and death health. So I accepted the Lord Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. I walked out of that room, and Mark looked at me and he said, "You are different. You have been transformed." And oh, was he correct? He was correct, because I was totally transformed. We went back to Wednesday night worship, and I left it all on the altar. just like you here. All the guilt, the shame, the fear, it just came out. Tears, the whole thing. I will tell my story from the mountaintops. And it continued after that with miracle after miracle. How does that relate to Biosound? That was in early part of 2010, May 23rd, 2010. I know the date I was saved. And so things started happening. And toward the end of that year, people started coming together in my life, the right people, composers, music therapists, addiction counselors. One thing led to another. I'm on the ground. I've always been a marketing guy. I'm on the ground and I'm driving to South Florida. I mean, I'm feeling so much better. There's more to that story, but it'd take up too much time. I'm feeling so much better. I'm loading this primitive unit in my SUV with 178,000 miles on it and traveling to South Florida and knocking on doors, addiction treatment centers, and just doing demonstrations. And one thing led to another. And that's where we are today. And I've been told you better write a book, and yeah, I will. I will. Anyway, a lot more to that story, but we'll leave it there for now. And this is my son, Chris Gallant. None of this would be possible without him. He's the tech guy. He knows so much about Biosound, and he's such a passionate guy about helping people. And I'll let Chris go ahead and tell his story, and then we'll move on to the web.
Yeah, thanks, Dad. Such an example of how life can change and how God can move through you and work in your life. And a little bit about me. I am married. My wife is Melody. She works with us. She's amazing. She helps us out a lot. And we have two beautiful kids, one boy and one girl. So I'm blessed there. That's really all I wanted in life was a family, and I got that. But choosing a career path for me, I always wanted to be a police officer and went to police academy, did the 4 years in college for criminology. And that door was closed on me pretty quick because of a health condition. And I didn't know really what I wanted to do. And I ended up at a marketing company, and that's where I met Melody. So it just goes to show you how God can work in your life, even though you think you're at a time where the doors are shut and there's no way out. So he does work through us. So, and my dad's a great example of that. You just look at where we've come in the last 10 years with Biosound. It's amazing. And I see our website and everything that God has done to make this company do God's work. And that's what we're doing. So about 2 years into my marketing job, I didn't know what I wanted to do, if I wanted to continue with that. That's about when my dad was starting to really get off the ground with Biosound. He needed help. So I quit my job and started going to conferences with him and helping out any way I could. I didn't know anything about music or addiction treatment or any of that, but we learn as we go, and I did. And here we are today, able to share this with you guys. So thank you for attending. Thank you to all the panelists and everybody that put in effort to make this happen. We'll go ahead and now tell you a little bit about what Biosound is, how it works. This picture here is the Biosound therapy system, and I'll let my dad go ahead and explain that to you.
So yeah, what you're looking at now is today's version of the primitive unit. And I'll quickly go through the components, but I'd like to try to describe the experience. You see the gentleman on the bed with the headphones, his eyes blacked out. He's relaxed. This is after what the first thing we recommend doing is we developed an analyzer program. So now you can measure pre and post symptoms, 10 symptoms pre and post electronically. It's stored in a file, of course, with the patient number. And then you have that outcome to compare pre and post, and also to look at it long-term during their treatment, so you can see where your success and where they're going with it, not just with Biosound, but with your whole program. So the monitor, that's exactly what the monitor's for. It's for the outcome program. It's for the, we're going to get into the biofeedback portion of the program. So that's already been completed. He's in the bed and he's ready for the therapeutic portion of it. And basically, he's going to, at the same time, receiving deep resonant 40 to 70 hertz vibrations. He's hearing music. The music is composed and includes techniques to help bring the brain waves down, to slow them down, to slow down the racing thoughts, to clear the clutter. And then it'll segue, the system will segue into, depending on what you put into it, into a guided imagery session. So now what you have is you have a client or patient with an open mind, basically, to receive that impactful message. And we'll get through more detail of that, but the rest of the system, of what you see is that's the operating system itself. The electronics are underneath the bed, and then you'll see over, that's part of the spa package. That's part of the new system that we added, with a UV cabinet and heated pillows for pain mainly, and comfort. So we're going to scroll down to a short video that'll give you a little, it's a 1-minute video, give you a little idea more about Biosound.
We are dedicated to your health and wellness and offer the latest technology. Our focus is on offering the most innovative therapeutic solutions to alleviate stress, depression, body aches, muscle tension, headaches, anger, and a number of other symptoms. If you're experiencing non-optimal health conditions such as these, we want to introduce you to Biosound therapy. Binaural beats, deep resonant vibrational tones, and low harmonic frequencies relieves pain and induces a theta level meditative state, producing a natural relaxation response. To relax the body, quiet the mind, and calm the spirit. Schedule your first session and feel better today. The next generation in brain-based whole body wellness is here.
So that video was done in the last couple of years when we started introducing Biosound to other markets, the wellness, health and wellness, chiropractors. We're even in some medical offices and other interested people. I mean, stem cell clinics, we never know where they're coming from. The next thing we want to review with you all is what is Biosound therapy. So there it is. Those are the things I talked briefly about. The biofeedback program. Chris is going to get into a little more with that, with some graphics and detail a little bit down the road here. The brain entrainment, basically that's when I told you about the especially composed music with the binaural beats. It's pretty common method of getting people to into that relaxation response, along with the music. The key thing is that they're experiencing all these things now, not the biofeedback, but all these other modalities, the vibroacoustics, the intense vibrations, and they can be adjusted coming through the bed. The sound frequencies that come with it, which are the healing frequencies, the 40 to 70 hertz, and then the guided imagery. That's the basically talking them down, dealing with issues that we're going to show you later, the main issues of that, and the benefits. You know, you can see it real quick. relieves pain, reduces muscle tension, lowers anxiety, enhances relaxation, decreases stress, and improves sleep. And we do have, we'll get into a little bit about the data that that came from. You see the circles behind. So 10 symptoms with pretty amazing reduction numbers. So we're going to scroll down now to how it works. And again, we go to the binaural beats that induce the meditative state, and which all this together creates a coherent heart rhythm patterns in the system between the nervous system, the heart, and the mind. So we're healing mind, body, and spirit in one session. The deep vibrations we discuss. The pain, we have a whole pain management. We'll get to that. An entire pain management section to deal with different issues with pain. And of course, we're not, people coming into recovery, yeah, they're in pain emotionally, and they're in pain physically. So, this is a combination of things to help all those systems. And we get reports all the time on keeping people in the treatment, reducing early discharge rates. So all those things, positive affirmations, that's all part of it. So we're going to skip down now to this is the actual program I was just speaking about. So here's the pain management section, and you can see a deep sound massage. The deep sound massage is probably, no doubt, that's the most used and popular and effective method for a lot of things. But so that's why you see 20, 30, and 45-minute sessions. The Oriental Shiatsu massage is just a different thing with a different, if people heard of Shiatsu, it's a little bit of pulsing. And then pain control includes the sound massage, but also some guided imagery about how to use imagery to deal with pain. So, that is very relevant in today's world with the opioid crisis, with, everybody knows what's been going on. You deal with pain with pills, and that's not a good thing. We're losing too many people every year to that. So people are hungry for different ways of dealing with pain. People are starting to get onto it and, forget the pills. So anyway, we'll move on to sound healing. Now, these are just beautiful, peaceful, different meditations without any music, without any talking, without any guided imagery. We call it energy boost because it's got different tones and frequencies. Each one of them do. Relax and meditate is a very, of course, relaxing and meditating piece. And then sound sleep, that's to help people with their sleep. Space Odyssey is really a cool trip to go on. I love it. So that's one of my favorites. And then drum therapy, you all know, you all have heard of that. And that's just, just the way it's structured and put together with it. Again, you got to experience most of this stuff. So solfeggios are meditations that were used, the ancients had. And interestingly enough, those 396, all those numbers there are found somehow. I never really got to looking into it, but they're from the book of Numbers in the Bible. So they were rediscovered, I think, in the early 1900s, and they're just beautiful. They have different tones, sounds, frequencies, the chimes, the Tibetan bowls, the Gregorian chants, all that kind of stuff. So then we had the solfeggios also in a guided. So they're experiencing those same sounds and frequencies, but now we're back to having guided imitations. So we have the 6 frequencies, both in the guided and in just the sounds. And then we've got the section on mindfulness. So, you know, we have the relevant, you know, a lot of this relates directly to addiction, you know, staying mindful, being grateful. How important is being grateful to recovery? You know, the relaxation, release anxiety, self-healing. These last ones were added at the request of a chiropractor. We don't make any kind of claims at all about any kind of illness or habit, or it's all about reducing symptoms and helping heal, helping mind, body, and spirit heal. So, and then we have an emotional healing. It's guided female voice, and it's, you know, you see the 3 topics: acceptance, love, and peace. And that doesn't mean it's just for females. You know, I learned later on, I needed these 3 things too throughout my life. So, you know, since my transformation and my salvation, you know, I've become more and more, you know, aware of those. And then the chakra, now that's more of an Eastern composition with the Eastern. There's no talking. There's no, you know, no kind of trying to attract anybody to anything. It's the energy centers we have, the 7 chakras. Most people are familiar with, from the root to the crown, and each section is about 7 minutes. And they have, again, the different frequencies, the different tones, different sounds. I was skeptical at first, and after doing a couple of sessions, it did something for me. I felt more balanced coming out. So that's the program contents, and I think Chris is going to move on to some of the biofeedback.
Yes,
Okay.
we'll move on to the biofeedback. So a lot of those music therapy compositions, what you're listening to, you're feeling through the bed as well as you're listening. It's really hard to describe a biosound therapy session. So I highly recommend, if you are near Christine, to go out and try a biosound therapy session. So moving on to the biofeedback portion of the session, this usually takes place at the beginning and also at the very end. So after you listen to your meditation, and you get a good reading of how you started before you did your biosound session to how you completed after your biosound session. So most people, when they get in, they are stressed and have some anxiety, and they have this level of frustration. And if you look at the graph off to the right here, you'll see this is a heart rhythm pattern that looks very incoherent in a person who is frustrated. So the biofeedback program that we use measures heart rate variability. It's a user-friendly program. You place a finger sensor on the client's finger and start the program, and they will learn a few techniques to shift from that state of frustration to hopefully a state of appreciation, and we call that being in the zone, a high state of coherence. So how that shows up on the program while they're doing their session, this little green bar will start to fill up if they move into that state of appreciation by doing 3 simple exercises. One is heart focus, so you just focus your attention on your heart. The next is heart breathing, so you take a deep breath in and a deep breath out as if you're breathing, picture yourself breathing through your heart. And then the third step is feeling of gratitude or a positive feeling. So you just picture something that makes you happy, something that you're grateful for. And by doing those 3 things, you can really shift your emotional state from a negative state. So this could be when somebody cuts you off in traffic or puts you in that negative frame of mind. The client can do those 3 things and quickly shift into a state of appreciation versus that state of frustration. So that's how we use the biofeedback program. It's, again, it's a user-friendly program that takes very little training, no certification, no special courses that you have to go do. It's a 2-hour training, and you can operate the Biosound system. So next, we'll move on to look at some of our providers that we have throughout the United States. So we'll click over here to our provider page so you guys can see where Biosound therapy systems are located. So We have them all across the US. We have one in Mexico, one over here in Bermuda, and then we also have one in the Bahamas at a resort down there. So that was a fun trip. That was early on. Before I even started working with my dad, I got to take that trip. So that kind of helped me make my decision. It was a good trip. So these are some of our centers. Most of them, the treatment centers, we started out in Florida because we're in Florida. We would make the 4-hour trip over to South Florida, and that's where we really gained traction. If we zone in on Texas here, where a lot of you are from, you'll see this is Christine's location here in Houston, Relaxing Rhythm Sound Spa. Highly recommend reaching out to her if you get the chance. This is Serenity Light, and there's some other treatment centers throughout Texas and California. So with that, you can feel free to take a look at our website anytime and look at our providers, see what's close to you. We're going to go ahead and show an inspirational video. A Biosound session typically ends with a positive wake up with where you take your glasses off and look at the monitor screen and you watch a positive video, and it just puts you back into reality. After doing a Biosound session for an hour, you might lose track of where you are and be kind of drowsy, you would think, but we wake up with a positive video. So we're going to go ahead and play that video for you. This is probably the most popular video. It's called Creation Calls, and we hope you enjoy.
How could I say there is no God when all around creation calls a singing bird, a mighty tree, the vast expanse of open sea. Gazing at a bird in flight, soaring through the air, lying down beneath the stars. I feel your presence. Listening to a river run, watering the earth, fragrance of a rose in bloom, a newborn's cry at birth. How could I say there is no tree, the vast expanse of open sea. I understand that ocean shore and feel the thundering breakers roar. To walk through gold fields of rain, deep endless blue, horizons frame. I believe. I believe. Just like a child.
So, pretty powerful, incredible movie. That's the most common, most liked and loved movie we have. I want to really quickly close with a short story because we are running a little bit over, but this is important. So early on, down in South Florida, Chris and I were doing a demonstration at a treatment center, and we would always ask that, you know, if you're comfortable, send us clients that you think are having problems or whatever. And so one of the nurses brought a client over, and we put her in, and she said something to me. She saw my cross, and she said, I think she may be ready. And at first I didn't know how to take that. Anyway, when the session was done, you know, she saw the movie y'all just saw. And she was just, I mean, she went in a mess, and she was just so peaceful, and she had tears streaming down her face. And we both, Chris and I, just felt like, okay. And we asked her, would you like to say the salvation prayer? And we did. We prayed with her to accept Jesus Christ as her Lord and Savior. And she was just amazed. And lo and behold, after that, the nurse came over to me and said, I think you were there, and said, you're not going to believe this, but today is her birthday. So for someone to be reborn on her birthday, I think everybody can understand how passionate Chris and I are. That was just amazing, amazing. So I guess it's time for questions and answers, and we're ready. Fire away. We're just a few minutes late. Is Eric getting on now?
Christine or Eric, yeah. Tim.
Hello, that was awesome.
Hi, Eric.
Thank you so much. And that was a beautiful video, but it is unreal when you could feel the vibrations of the music.
Yeah.
I got to experience it a few weeks ago with Christine, and it was very special. And I was very relaxed, and it's awesome. So it's hard to describe the exact feeling. Great technology. And Kim and Jamie, are you going to help with some of the questions we have?
Yes, yes. We'll start with Taylor Van Buskirk. Her question is, can one develop their own visual and audio presentations? And we'll let Chris and maybe Chris and Rick take this one.
Yeah. Well, you could, but the effects are not going to be there. You know, you could. It's basically just playing a file. But if you try with the vibrations, that's music is. There's not a lot of composers around that can put that together. You would get like a heavy bass thumping. You know, it's special composition. So I hope you could use your own videos, absolutely. But I hope that answered the question. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, no, that was good. Yeah, it's hard with the vibrations. Some music has a heavy bass that comes in and out, so you just have to be careful there.
Just doesn't seem to work smoothly. You know, it's not a smooth, what we call a smooth ride.
All right, thank you. Jamie.
So Tanya Harris asked, Chris, could you please send me the quote for the new bed to replace my current bed?
Yes, Tanya, I will, definitely.
Oh,
And then Taylor also,
Tanya? Who's Tanya? Tanya Harris.
oh yeah, Tanya.
Taylor also asked, can we collaborate to create client-specific programs tailored to them?
Tailored to each client? Yes, there are different sessions you can put together for each client. There's a lot of overlap though. A lot of stuff that is good in general for just about anybody. But you can, if you have somebody that is working on grief, there's grief sessions that can be put together. So
We have a suggested protocol in the manual that's used as a guide. So a lot of flexibility with the system.
All right, thank you guys. I have just a question I'm going to throw out there because I don't see any others up right now. I'm just going to gear this one towards Christine. Christine, are you there? Hey, Christine. There you are. Okay.
Yes.
I want you to, I'm just pretending like I don't already know this. Tell us a little bit about, like, maybe just some examples of maybe one or two different cases that you've had, maybe what they were presenting with, what they were trying to achieve with Biosound, and then a little bit about maybe what you saw once they had experienced it, you know, one or two or three times.
Well, you are opening up a broad question, which you know you're gonna get a pretty big answer on that one. So
Okay.
one of the things I'll say is that as a clinician, therapy is a very active experience. It's a very active experience, and sometimes in that experience it can cause some discomfort. So in therapy there can be discomfort, but in Biosound it's a very passive experience. So sometimes I have clients that will come in, and in therapy, it can almost maybe ignite comfort, anxiety, cravings, and whatnot. So having this in my practice, and sometimes in treatment facilities and whatnot, it almost is a good conjunction. So I've had people that with a therapy session, they'll have a craving level of 7 because we've tapped on to something that they need to. They have this discomfort, but then they'll do a Biosound session after a therapy session, and their craving level will go down to a 0 or a 1. So utilizing it in conjunction with therapy, the active of therapy, which you need to do, and then the passive of the Biosound, which is fantastic. So I've had that type of situation. I also have had people from age 80 to literally clients of age 11. And the experiences have been different, but equally successful. I've had, right now I've had police officers come in, which they've come in with fear, anxiety, muscle tension, all of that. They're coming in with a symptom inventory scale of like down the chart 10, and they're leaving with, 1, 2s, and 3s, which is extraordinary. So I hope that kind of answers your question a little bit.
Absolutely.
As far as what I've seen. And majority of people that come in that try it one time come back time and time again. I've had some people leave. I've had some people actually leave crying that I follow up and I'm like, are you okay? And they're like, well, I didn't know how wound up I was until I was unwound. And it's just such a profound experience for them. And all of a sudden, all that talking in their head calms down. And so it's just an overwhelming experience for them. So each people have different experiences. So when I get these reviews, it's almost like kind of Christmas time where I get to hear what they're saying. And as a clinician, again, having that dichotomy, because I know I saw when people were checking in, there's a lot of therapists, there's a lot of other clinicians. Right now, it can be very heavy in our field. And to have that dichotomy of sometimes feeling and seeing a lot of hopelessness, and then in your office, seeing people have like almost that instant feeling of hopefulness. So it helps me, and then it also helps them when they're feeling one thing and then the next thing you see this hopefulness in your office. So it's an all around positive experience for myself and for the people that I'm working with.
Thanks, Christine. That was great. Great answer. Go ahead.
Shafana is asking, how many sessions would a patient do, and what is the going rate per session?
And we'll throw that question over to maybe Chris and Rick. Let us know what you guys think. Are y'all able to answer that?
Yeah, we can answer it. How many sessions a client should do. So
yeah.
It honestly, you can do as many sessions as you'd like. It's not going to hurt. We recommend definitely, if you're working on a specific issue, at least twice a week for 10 weeks. So that would be 20 sessions. But you can do it daily. We have it here in the office. I wish I did it daily, but I don't. But, I wish I did, but I could. Anyway, as far as the price goes, I would, no, as far as price goes for the sessions, I would, Christine, you'd be better at answering that than me.
Christine posts on her website her price structure, and then we have another provider that actually posts that information. But Christine, you can share.
Do you want me to interject on that?
Yes.
Yes.
You can share if you'd like.
What I did for my price structure is the initial session, I did it at a low introductory rate for everyone to have an opportunity to try it. So the initial session is always $50. Then after that, each session is $100 unless someone buys a package. If they buy a package, it's buy 3, get 1 free. So then it works out to being $75 a session. But I allow people to share it with anyone. They can share that package with anyone. So if people are in a sober living community, they can share it with other people that are in the sober house. Because the idea is that you want people to utilize it. You want people to experience it so they can share it. But I have people that parents are bringing their children in for a therapy session. So instead of sitting in the lobby while their child is in a therapy session with me, they're practicing self-care for themselves and doing a therapy. They're doing a Biosound session instead of just sitting in a couch waiting for their child. So and then afterwards, guess what? After their son does their therapy session, then the son comes in and does a Biosound. So their family members are sharing it. So because the mom is experiencing it and they're like, oh wait, you know what? My son needs it. So they're also realizing that, maybe my husband won't do therapy, but he'll definitely do this. So families are sharing it and really experiencing the benefits. So having that everyone can share it kind of opens it up and expands it, and more people are likely to do it. So
Thank you, Christine.
No
That's
problem.
awesome. Okay, Carl Williams is asking, how this might be for Chris. How do we go about getting the 2-hour training?
Okay, yeah, he can email me. That would be something. Eric, can share my email to all the participants. If they are a current customer, they can ask questions about training, and we can work through email to schedule that.
As far as a system, the training is included. We do it remotely, and it can even now, since everybody had to change, like you all, in March, and so now Christine was the first one. They were coming out here, her and her husband, for a combination vacation, pick up the unit, get trained here, and going back to Houston, and it didn't work out. So we've developed a 1-hour install, so it's reduced the cost, with that, and then the training is included. And we don't just put a system in and leave people be.
All right, perfect, thank you. Yeah, Chris, maybe what you can do if you get an opportunity while we're still on is go into the chat and put your email.
There we go.
I would do that for sure. Maybe yours and Rick's.
Well,
I actually just did that for you.
Okay.
Eric,
Thanks, Eric.
you're
You're the
amazing.
man. I'm trying to think of questions that I had, when I first came. Christine, one thing that was helpful, I think maybe you could tap into this for a second, is we talked about if there's anybody on this webinar today that either works for a treatment center, clinical directors, what have you, people that maybe even own treatment centers, explain how this has been utilized in treatment centers. And one of the results that we saw was them using them when patients were considering leaving and were really struggling with the process. Explain how that worked, Christine.
Well, kind of what I was saying about like the client that I had that had a level 7 of craving. When I worked at a treatment facility, we kind of had this almost like a joke around day 10, everyone wants to get a haircut. They could have cared less about their hair before treatment, but all of a sudden they need to go out and get a haircut. Well, their craving levels are getting higher. They want to leave. They're getting anxious, they're getting agitated, they want to leave treatment. If you have this type of treatment modality in a treatment facility, what it's doing is it's decreasing impulsivity, it's decreasing anxiety, it's decreasing depression, it's decreasing a whole bunch of the symptoms that are increasing craving levels. I have had numerous clients that have come in to therapy, and this was before I purchased the bed, and I would just kind of randomly ask them, so did you do Biosound while you were at Serenity Light? And they're like, I would see their demeanor change. I would see their eyes well up with tears. And they're telling me that this was one of the favorite parts of treatment. It was one of the things that sustained them. It was one of the things that brought them closer to a higher power. It was one of the things that brought them peace. If someone is about to leave treatment, and this is the thing that keeps them staying, that in and of itself is worth the investment. You're investing in someone's life. If someone was going to leave and they didn't because of that's amazing. You've made your money back. You've made the investment back on one person. You've potentially saved a life. My personal, I don't understand why most people don't have it, but plus the other thing is as a clinician, I use this bed minimum 1 to 2 times a week. I know what it's like to work in a treatment facility. The turnover rate for clinicians in treatment facilities is astounding. So if clinicians can use the bed in a treatment facility, the likelihood of turnover for clinicians would be significantly lower. So it's a twofold by having them in treatment facilities. So there you go.
Thank
There's my
you.
spiel on that. There's my spiel on that one too.
Thanks, Christine.
No
I'm about
problem.
to turn this back over to Eric, but I just want to second what Christine said. I've come in at least once a week. Obviously, I'm in business development, but I have clinical background, and I still do a lot of clinical work with the sober living. And it is an amazing way for me to start a weekend because it just kind of, I get regrouped, and it's just amazing. My husband even notices it. So just for me, I'm just letting you guys know, and y'all have my information up here. If you ever want any questions about how it's worked with some of my patients, myself, I'll be happy to answer any questions that you guys may have as well. But I'm going to turn this over to Eric because I think we're there.
Yes, thank you all so much. This was very informative. I really enjoyed my session when I did it. I just thanks everybody on the call today, Rick and Chris and Christine and Kim and Jamie and everybody else that joined us today. And stay tuned. We have some other great webinars coming up on October 2nd. It's going to be a testimonial by Sarah Bolton and the judge that changed her life. So stay tuned for that. Also, if you're in the Houston area, we are going to attempt a safe face-to-face networking event at the Heights Hospital on October 6th. Please wear your mask, and we may even have a mask/Halloween decoration contest or something like that. So stay tuned for more information. And then also, Kim, I think you have your medical director, Dr. Boone, is going to be speaking on October 16th. Is that correct?
Yes, Dr. James Boone, medical director for La Hacienda Treatment Centers out of Hunt, Texas, will be on our webinar on Friday, October 16th, doing a really incredible webinar that discusses basically the science and the spirituality of addiction and how they can kind of beautifully come together. And he just does an incredible job of explaining that. I've learned a lot from that man myself. So tune in for sure, 16th of October.
Awesome. And this will be recorded, and we're going to post this on our website at spiritualcarenet.org. Please share it with your friends. If you're not on our mailing list, you could sign up there as well and also join as a member. That concludes our webinar for today. Thanks again for joining us, and y'all have a blessed weekend. Take care.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Eric.
Bye.
Kim, Christine.